Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Backstage Showcase. I'm your host, Andrew Bermudez, and today we are going to look at something very unconventional. Now, I'm sure a lot of you remember the Vacation Unlimited animation contest that we hosted back in 2012. But did you know that that was not the first contest that we hosted? Granted, it was the first online contest that we hosted, but we had actually hosted some other small sweepstakes and contests before then. And now that brings us to today's subject matter. Today we are going to be talking about the Orient Expedition Treasure Hunt Sweepstakes official entry form, as it's called. This contest ran throughout 2007 as a way to promote Johnny Thunder and the Secret of Marco Polo, and was actually inspired by a contest from the original LEGO Orient Expedition product line's run back in 2003. You see, there was this contest. It was not run by LEGO, but it was rather run by Discovery Kids, where you had these questions and answers, and then you answer the questions, you submit them, you send them to the Discovery Kids contest center, and then whoever won would get a certain number of Orient Expedition LEGO sets. Now, as you can see from here, the way the contest worked is that you answer these 10 questions. You then submit your entry form to the address listed below. I've blocked it out for privacy reasons. And then whoever's chosen at random for those who got them all right, then got X certain prizes, which we'll get to in a little bit. But since this contest has been over for almost 10 years now, let's quickly run through the questions and then I'll give you the answers. Mind you, I don't have an answer key, so I'm going to have to run off of these based on memory, although I'm pretty sure I know all of them. So first one is, how many books has Dan Brown written? Well, at the time of this contest, it was 4. That'd be the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Deception Point, and Digital Fortress. Keep in mind that The Lost Symbol and Inferno have been released since this contest took place. What year were the Orient Expedition LEGO sets released? Pretty easy and I mentioned it before, 2003. True or false, there actually is a Da Vinci Museum in Florence, Italy. That is true, actually. I was doing research when making the movie, and I discovered there actually is a Da Vinci Museum in Florence. What year did Marco Polo leave Venice? It was B, 1271. What percentage of the world's population lives in India? I'm almost 100% certain it's C, 1/5. I'm almost positive it's that one. How tall is Mount Everest? Memory's escaping me a little bit on this. It obviously isn't D. If I remember correctly, it's either A or C. I want to say I'm thinking it's A, 29,035 feet. True or false, India holds more people than China? That is false. China is actually the most populated country in the world. What route did Marco Polo use to get to China? Silk Road. Who ruled China when Marco Polo visited? That was Kublai Khan. And true or false, the Golden Dragon exists? What's funny about this one is that I remember this one distinctly from the answer key. Officially, the answer is false. However, the answer key states that there is some possibility that the Golden Dragon could exist. We just don't know about it yet, but I say in the answer key for the time being, the answer for that one is false. Okay, so now let's pass by these official rules in the address really quickly. It's just nitty-gritty stuff by saying, like, it's void where prohibited. If you work for Mustache Mechanics Film Co., you can't enter. That's kind of a weird thing to do. I tried making things official, even though it's amateur. I just basically said anyone living in the same household as myself couldn't enter. I'm just saying, responsible for all applicable taxes, of which there are none. No bribes will be accepted, yada yada yada. Okay, so now let's get down to the prizes. So, if you notice here, there are some prizes here that mirror some of the later contests that I hosted. Like, for example, if you look at the grand prize, it says a part in the latest epic brick film, Johnny Thunder and the Secret of Marco Polo. That later influenced the Film School Challenge, where the prize was the same thing. You get a part in a film. Granted, that one was the third installment in this saga Giant Thunder and the Wisdom of the Ancients, but it's similar. A couple other things. Very first copy of the film ever made, autographed by the director. Invitation to the film's premiere. A complete Mustache Maniacs Film Co. collection. Technology was so archaic back then that there was even a disclaimer that the collection excluded 2 films simply because that I did not have DVD plus read files on hand. And also we have some other completely unrelated prizes, including this things called 3 Lego Star Wars comics by Greg Hyland. I never do that these days for 2 reasons. One, I don't own the comics, and therefore distributing them in this way would be an infringement of his copyright. And on top of that, it's kind of dumb in terms of a prize, because you can just go online and find them because they're all hosted online. But most of these other things were just things where I just had them, and then I tried getting rid of them, and I couldn't. The 3 Lego patches I actually have to this day. In fact, I'm actually staring at them right now. But essentially, this is the only record that I have on hand about this contest. If I remember correctly, only 1 person entered. There was one of the questions was wrong, but I disregarded it because they were the only one who entered. But in the end, they didn't really get anything because everything was so disorganized back then. Essentially, this contest was sort of a mess, and in my mind, basically when this contest ended, I kind of told myself that contest was such a bomb that I am going to wait several years before I do something new. I'd have to wait and change things. However, despite the failure of this contest, my next contest that I did do was, in fact, the Vacation Unlimited animation contest, because right after this contest ended was when I went online and started building my online presence. And I was thinking at the time, for the next contest, I wanted to make my online presence very big enough, I should say, to the point where I could host something online and then people would enter. And that concludes today's Backstage Showcase. So what'd you think? Would you like to see a new version of this contest? Would you be interested in something like that? Or are you more interested in the more creative contests that I run these days? What about those patches? Like I mentioned, I have them. Would you like to see them as prizes in a future contest? Or something like that? Maybe a copy of Secret of Marco Polo is due for a new contest, since Secret of Marco Polo actually turns 10 years old in 2018. So who knows? But until then, thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts about what I was presented here, just leave your comment below. And be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to check out the other parts of our network, mainly by visiting the Mustache Maniacs Film Co. website, by visiting the URL listed in the picture at this moment. And thank you for watching, and join me in the next episode.